and welcome to the Bristol Motor Speedway for today's Food City 500. This is the first short track race of the season, and this was around a simpler time where there was only 4 and not as many as we have now. And today should be a lot of fun here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. In years past, it has been excellent for battles for the lead and everything in between. And it should be a lot of fun today. But here's also the point standings before jumping into today's race. Mainly a lot of the drivers to look out for are mainly the top 5 in the point standings, or rather the top 2 in Ryan Newman or Matt Kenseth, since they've been trading the points to lead back and forth in the past couple of weeks. So we'll see today if that'll stay the same. But let's go on ahead and get to the starting lineup for today's race. So to kick off this starting lineup, in row number 1, we have Zachary Smithley, who wins his first career pole here at Bristol, and to his outside, it is Dale Earnhardt Jr. In row 2, you'll find Sterling Marlin and Ryan Newman. Row 3, Matt Kenseth and Jeff Gordon. Row 4 is Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick. Row 5, it is Bill Elliott and Dale Jarrett. Row 6 is Kurt Busch and Rusty Wallace. Row 7, Tony Stewart and Tony Raines. Row 8 is Jeff Green and Jamie McMurray. Row 9, Elliott Sadler and Steve Park. Row 10, Johnny Benson and Ricky Rudd. Then in row 11, you'll find the Roush teammates of Greg Biffle and Darlington winner Jeff Burton. Row 12 is Mark Martin and Byron Labonte. Row 13, Ward Burton and Todd Bodine. Row 14, Michael Waltrip and Kenny Wallace. Row 15, Jerry Nadeau and Jeremy Mayfield. Row 16 is Dave Blaney and Joe Nemechek. Row 17, Terry Labonte and Jimmy Spencer. Row 18, Ricky Craven and John Andretti. Row 19 is Kyle Petty and Ken Schrader. In row 20, it is Robbie Gorn and Casey Mears. Row 21, Brett Bodine and Larry Foyt. Bodine makes his first start of the 2003 season. Around the field at row 22 is Jack Sprague. Then we have the DNQs for today's race. It is Mike Skinner, Derek Cope, Kevin LePage, David Green, and Kirk Shelmerdine. Mike Skinner is highlighted in yellow because he was one of the drivers outside the top 35, which is why he didn't make the show today. And here is the track list. 125 laps, pit windows, lap 62 to 68. There's a multi-groove racing and possible new winner. We'll see.
Let me tell you what I want you to do, DW, what I want you to do every week. Reach your back, pull them belts tight one more time for me.
I'm ready to go, man. I'm pumped. Coming down. Boogity, 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 boys. Let's go racing.
Off turn 4 to lead lap number 1, it is Dale Earnhardt Jr., who leads his first lap since the Daytona 500 earlier this season. And Zachary in the 80 did not get the start that he wanted, but he does fall back in line, does tuck behind Dale Earnhardt Jr., and he is able to stay with the 8 car. Zach is going to come back after Dale Jr., but because these drivers can utilize not only the bottom, but the middle and the outside lanes, well, seems like it might all be good for him. Might be a little bit difficult to pass here a little bit, but won't be too bad, I don't think. You see Zachary trying to roll the bottom, trying to get a little bit of a run on Dale Jr., but Jr. is utilizing that outside line because the outside groove is kind of the preferred line around here. You got to remember not to burn up your tires and really hurt you in the long run. Because remember, you got to make it to about lap 62 in order to make it to the first pit cycle. Dale Jr.'s got to keep an eye out on that. You see Zachary kind of peeking on the bottom to try to take the lead away from Jr., but he couldn't quite get there. As now Jr. starts to run the bottom and Zachary will now run the outside. Zachary going to try to take the lead back from Dale Jr., lost it on the start. Here comes right around the outside. He's going to be careful trying to get around the 8 car. Doesn't want to overcook the corner. He doesn't want to try to go in too deep. He goes in hot. He goes right around the outside, and Zachary Smithley takes the lead coming out of turn number 4 here at Bristol. And Zachary will lead his first laps since Rockingham, the race that he won earlier this year. So Zachary, who wins the pole, leads on lap 8 and going on to lap 9. You can see him running that outside line. All the other drivers, they're running the bottom, so we'll see if Zachary's making the right choice of running the outside. Running the bottom is pretty simple because you're able to save a lot of tires down there You can kind of save some tires up on the outside and around the middle as well, but you got to be careful on how you do your entries and how you handle your tires through the corner, as we see a battle going on for fourth between championship rivals Matt Kenseth and Ryan Newman. Only 30 points separate the two heading into today's race, so it'll be quite interesting to see who gets the best over the other. As back in Atlanta, it was Kenseth that got the best of Newman, but coming out of Darlington, it was Newman that got the best of Kenseth. And so far as of now, point leader Ryan Newman seems to have gotten the best of Matt Kenseth as he retakes fourth position away from the DeWalt Ford. As Kenseth will fall down to fifth and into the clutches of Kevin Harvick, who's now sixth. See Jeff Gordon in seventh, back there in eighth, Dale Jarrett, Kurt Busch in ninth, but he's going to fight Jarrett for eighth. He's going to go right around the outside. He's going to take P8. And you got the battle for 10th going on between Jimmy Johnson and Tony Stewart. Stewart's going to try the outside to get around Johnson. It looks like he did. You see all the cars kind of wrapping the bottom as much as they humanly can. Then you got Zachary up at the front, who's just kind of wrapping the middle line, but it's also working. You see the cars go flying by. Gotta love the sounds. You see Jeff Green and Tony Raines fighting it out. Bill Elliott actually got around him as he's right now 11th. Look at that big gaggle of cars right there. There's the race leader, Zachary, being able to hold on to the lead and actually kind of drive away from Dale Jr. a little bit. Zachary, the rookie, he's doing pretty good by driving away from Dale Jr. a little bit. If there's one thing we got to pay attention to, with a nice little shot of the pit lane, it seems like. Actually, not that bad of a shot. Look at Zach come on by. It was actually a pretty good shot, not gonna lie. But Zachary kind of has to. He might be a rookie, and he's got to, pay attention to his tires, because back at Atlanta, that was his main problem. Is his tires was going away. He's got to make sure he doesn't wear them out too late in the going or too early in the going. Try to have some towards the end of the run. With how fast that 80 car is going, he is starting to catch the back of this field. As we're heading on to lap 19, a little bit further back, look at Sterling Marlin holding on to third. Marlin hasn't had the greatest season, and him starting third was a blessing for him. We'll just kind of have to see how it all kind of shapes out for Marlin today, as he needs to have consistent runs, and right now he's got the top two in the championship directly behind him, which are Ryan Newman in fourth and Matt Kenseth in fifth. Dale Earnhardt Jr. hasn't had the greatest races since Las Vegas. Didn't have a great finish at Atlanta, nor did he have a good finish last time out at Darlington, so he led some laps, but he's looking to get a better finish today, maybe yet another top 10. And Zachary, who barely squeaked by with a top 10 at Darlington after his performance back at Atlanta where his tires were going away. He's doing pretty good now, as we see Brett Bodine, who's competing in his first Cup Series race today. You have Larry Foyt, Casey Mears, Ricky Craven, Jack Sprague. There's Ken Schrader, try to continue his little comeback. Ahead of him is Kyle Petty. There's Robbie Gordon, who made the show barely over Mike Skinner. Yeah, Kenny Walls, Jimmy Spencer, Joe Nemechek, Andretti, Mayfield. There's Warburton, Dave Blaney up to the outside with Michael Waltrip, who got his second top 10 of the season. Looking to have a good run today. There's last week's winner, Jeff Burton, in the 99. And directly ahead of him is Rusty, his teammate Biffle, and Jeff Green, who hasn't had the greatest last 2 weeks, finishing outside the top 10 in both races. Then you got McMurray, Sadler, Tony Raines with a good run going. Bill Elliott, Dale Jarrett, Johnson, Stewart, Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick. Change their position for third as Matt Kenseth takes it over Marlin. And Newman actually fell from third to fifth. And Zachary has entered lap traffic now. His first one is Brett Bodine, and Zachary hasn't really been around lap traffic as much, but the main question is, even though he was able to pull away from Dale Earnhardt Jr., did he save enough tire to get around the lap traffic, or is this going to be a problem for him? As you see Dale Jr. just kind of lurking in the background, but Zachary's going to try to find a way around Brett Bodine in the 11 car, which unfortunately did not get loaded in. Tries to wrap the bottom, but because he's stuck behind Bodine, look at the time that Junior has actually gained on Zachary. As it actually kind of seems like Zachary might be struggling a little bit. He might have used up his tires a little too much. But he will definitely try the outside. Try to get a good run, try to get a good exit. He does get a good exit. We get to the outside of Bodine. Oh, we got close to the wall. I don't think he touched it. That gets Junior to get closer to him. But since they're in lap traffic, this is actually going to be pretty difficult for Junior to make the pass on Zachary for the lead. As you see, Casey Mears and Ricky Craven are actually battling it out. Zachary's trying to make something happen. Trying to see if he can force his way around in the middle or on the bottom. He's going to try to. Jimmy Spencer up ahead. He is slow, and because of that, Zachary gets caught up in it, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to take the lead, and Jimmy Spencer's just going to park it on the back straightaway. There is no caution, but Spencer does park it on the backstretch, and he disappears. Very, very interesting to say the least, but now the change for the lead has happened, and Zachary's now down to second, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. has retaken the top spot here at Bristol. And here comes Ryan Newman in the 12. Looks like he passed Kenseth and Marlin at one point. Seems like Zachary might actually be struggling on his tires, as Newman caught him really, really fast. Zachary may have entered way too high in 3 and 4, or 1 and 2 last time by. And Newman has caught Zach, but also here comes Kevin Harvick in the 29. Ooh, they almost make contact a little bit, Zachary and Newman. Zachary's going to hold it, though. He's going to hold second for now, but here comes Harvick in the 29. Haven't really mentioned Harvick as much, but here he comes right around the outside, almost makes it 3 wide, but Kevin Harvick will take second spot, or will he? Zachary kind of comes back, but his tires seem to be shot. And that's going to be easy for Harvick to grab second. Gordon is going to grab third. He's going to pass his own driver. Zachary's going to try to fight it, but he can't fight it for long. Gordon to third. Kurt Busch to fourth. Zachary's down to fifth. Newman's down to seventh. There's Kenseth. He's sixth. Jimmy Spencer's coming back on the track. Zachary trying not to crowd Kenseth. He is reporting that his car is tight, so his tires are definitely gone. As Kenseth will take fifth. Zachary, I don't think he's meaning to hold up Newman, but I think he just doesn't want to get off the bottom. But he might have to, as Marlin, Johnson, and Stewart are nearby. And then Tony Raines, or not Tony Raines, but Dale Jarrett, excuse me, in the 88's there. Now Newman's to the inside of Zachary, going to try to grab sixth position, but they are going to be side by side coming off of turn number 4. And Newman doesn't have to worry about losing any more spots because Matt Kenseth is directly ahead of him. And Newman's probably, frustrated with Zach that he lost so many positions, but at the same time, he might be grateful that he ain't too far away from Matt Kenseth in the 17. You see his teammate Kurt Busch is there in fourth, Gordon in third, Harvick second, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., the leader, getting around lap traffic. He just passed Ken Schrader. He's going to go to the outside of Larry Foyt. Trying to put him a lap down. The next car ahead of the lead lappers is Jimmy Spencer, who was stopped on the back straightaway, and no caution was thrown for that, which is kind of shocking that no caution came out. You think at the very least that a caution would have come out for that, but oddly enough it didn't. And it's kind of shocking if you think about it. A little bit further back, Newman did get around Zachary, as did Marlin. So Newman's now 6th, Marlin 7th, Zachary down to 8th. Tony Stewart on his outside, and Zachary gets tight, and he gets in the wall! Zachary gets in the wall, he comes down the track, probably because of being loose. Jarrett's going to take 9th. They're going to be 3 wide coming out of the corner. A little bit of contact from Zachary to Tony and to Jimmy Johnson. Zachary loses 2 more spots, which will put Tony 9th, Johnson in 10th. Zachary is down to 11th, with Jamie McMurray trying to fight him for 12th. But Tony Stewart looks like that contact did not faze him. He's going to go right around the outside of Dale Jarrett for 8th. So look a bit further ahead. There's Kurt Busch. Gordon, Harvick, and Junior are all together now. They are catching the lapper of Jeremy Mayfield in the 19. As Zachary did lose the spot to Jamie McMurray in the 42. A little bit of damage on that right front. He might be able to buff that out on the first pit stop here in the next 20 laps if he wants to make it 20 more laps. And look at this pack of lap cars that Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon find themselves in. They're going to go... Junior's going to go around the outside of Mayfield. Because it seems like Andretti might be a little bit slow, and that's going to help Junior because Harvick went to the bottom. It's going to open up the gap a little bit. He's got Joe Nemechek in front of him. There, Robbie Gordon is the 31, who's actually having a pretty good race right as of right now. He is 40th in the championship, and so far right now with RCR, they're not too happy with Robbie Gordon's performance in that 31 car, so only time will tell what will happen with Robbie in the next coming weeks from the sounds of it. But Dale Jr., he did get around the lap traffic pretty easily. He might be able to get around the outside of Robbie Gordon. Actually, he can't. Robbie might be trying to push Junior back into the clutches of his teammate, Kevin Harvick, actually, because Harvick is Robbie's teammate. They are RCR teammates. The problem is, though, is Junior can't really get around him because if he goes to the inside, he's in between Andretti and Nemechek. And that opens the door for Harvick to get around him on the outside, and Junior doesn't want that, so he's going to hold it around the outside. Coming to lap 50 now. Man, this race has gone by in a flash. He goes to the outside, though, because Harvick went to the middle. Harvick doesn't get the position. He goes right to the inside, though. On board with Dale Jr. for a tiny little bit. Junior's going to try to go around the outside of Robbie Gordon. He does. He grabs he puts him a lap down. I'm going to say grab a position, but Robbie aimed for position. He's still going a lap down. And there goes Junior on by. Harvick is down to second. Kurt Busch has now joined the frame in third. There's Jeff Gordon in fourth. And just back there, you see Kenseth in fifth and Newman in sixth. You're going to try to go around the outside of Jerry Nadeau. Oh, man. The pole sitter, Zach, just not having a good showing right now. His tires are definitely burnt. He's got damage already. Contact between Byrne and Reigns, and that catches Zach, and he gets in the wall again. And they catch Sadler as well. Second time that Zachary has caught the wall this race, and he didn't even make contact with Byrne at all. It seems like Byrne just kind of got tight as well and got into Tony Reigns, which then got Tony Reigns and Burton to catch Zach as well. But look at this, Junior's caught them. Tony Reigns will go a lap down, but Tony Reigns is coming on pit road. And Junior's kind of gapped at second place, as a matter of fact. See, there's his DEI teammates, and there's Zachary in the 80. He's got Elliott Sadler, who seems to be all right. Doesn't look like he's got a ton of damage. But that 99 of Jeff Burton got quite a bit of damage from that, so got to pay attention to him and see how he's doing. He's a little bit further through the field. There's Tony Reigns in the 74 on pit road. He's a little bit further back. It does look like he got the damage repairs, so he's coming back out now. Harvick has lost a ton of time being behind Joe Nemechek, but also Kenny Wallace kind of slowed them down. Newman's going to try to get around Jeff Gordon for second, it looks like. And he will. He gets around Gordon for second. Gordon down to third. Junior has a pretty good gap over Ryan Newman in the 12. And Kurt Busch is going to grab third off of Gordon, who's now down to fourth. He's stuck behind Robbie Gordon. So Kenseth is going to try to go around the outside, grab fourth. And Gordon's going to go, and Jeff Gordon, I should say, is going to fall to fifth. Harvick is now sixth. We were watching the scramble with Zach and didn't have enough time, or didn't have time to go see what happened with Harvick. But now, the battle for second is going to heat up a little bit as Newman's going to try to find his way around the lap traffic. And wherever Newman goes, I guess Kurt's going to go as well. And they got to catch Junior, but Junior's kind of getting out there. But we are near the pit window. That's the thing. We are near the pit window. Harvick actually passed Gordon for fifth. Jeff Gordon looks like he's finally going to get around Robbie. And now Junior's going to come around and complete lap 60 of this race. And there you see Zach just kind of trying to hold on. He's trying to make it to the pit stop. The pit window is open, so the drivers can't come in, but here comes Dale. But Dale Jr.'s right there, so he's got to pay attention to Dale Jr. and try not to get in his way, as Zach has been unfortunately holding up Elliott Sadler and Michael Waltrip. He's definitely not meaning to do it. You can obviously tell he's just trying to stay out there until he knows for a fact it's time to pit. Andretti is coming out of the pit stall, and Zach is tight, and he puts Martin in the wall. Mark Martin catches the wall, and that brings Michael Waltrip, Johnny Benson backwards and in the grasp of Dale Jr. now. So now Mark Martin is going to head down the track. Zachary's going to come down pit road. He realizes the damage is too much. The tire wear is too much. He's coming down pit road. Newman and Gorn also come down pit lane as well. And Junior's going to stay up for another lap, but the caution is out. Caution is out on the track, and there's the reasoning. Mark Martin and Tony Stewart were stopped on the track. And all this happened in the middle of the pit cycle. So this is most definitely going to pin a lot of people one lap down. But also, they might get the wave around because Dale Earnhardt Jr. definitely will pit under yellow. But let's go on ahead and see what caused this caution in the first place. This is what happened initially. Zach gets tight, gets into Martin. Martin grabs the wall, pushes Benson and Waltrip back a little bit. And Martin's got a ton of damage because of that contact. Look at the right side. It's bent. And oh, wow. Ward Burton just kind of sent it in and got into the back of Mark Martin. Johnson got around that and caught Kenseth and Tony Stewart, who were running inside the top 10. And Kenseth and Tony got towed, I think. Yeah, Tony also got towed. Here's on board with Martin. There's the initial contact. And then as he's going around, he tries to get to the bottom. Everything is fine because his pit stall is on the front stretch. And he gets clobbered by Ward Burton in the back end. Jimmy Johnson was lucky enough to get around that because Dale Jr. was actually nearby when this happened. And he got around pretty fast, but Martin did kind of hold up Kenseth and Stewart. Here's on board with Ward Burton. You see Mark Martin up there. He's up on the outside. He's going to come down the track. Now, Ward was fighting one car to his outside. And he kind of just went into the back end of Mark Martin and didn't really try to avoid him. He kind of just sent it right into the back of Martin. Ward Burton was able to drive away from that. That's right on board with Matt Kenseth with the new onboarding cam right above the car, or right above the hood. And Matt Kenseth, at this particular point in time, with Junior as the leader, he was running second when this happened. There you see Harvick go by. Marlin went by. Johnson definitely went by. Yeah, he lost a ton of positions, then he towed it. Now on board with Tony as well. So Kurt, Newman, and Gordon ended up pitting before all of this. So there's the incident that happened. And for the second week in a row, Tony Stewart, he manages to avoid it, but he just manages to stop at a gap that is open. You can hear the throttle going a little bit. Like he wanted to go by him, but he just didn't. Now on board with Johnson. Look at how he avoided this. Sees the crash, almost follows Kenseth because Johnson was actually going to pit. And the yellow flag hadn't come out at that point, but because they were on the track for so long, then the yellow flag ended up coming out. And that put a ton of cars a lap down. But, like I said before, because Dale Jr. ended up pitting, Kurt Busch now is the leader of this race. And Jerry Nadeau up there in the 01. He is up at the front. He is a lap car. And the pace car lights are off. So that'll mean that, well, it should mean the lap cars will be on the inside and the lead lap cars will be on the outside. But it seems like the front row is just going to consist of all lap cars, it seems like, all the way back to Kurt Busch, who is behind Ward Burton in the 22. So right now it is Kurt Busch the leader, Newman in second, Gordon in third. And you got Dale Jarrett in fourth, Jamie McMurray in fifth, Jeff Green in sixth, and then Dale Jr. back there in seventh. So we're going to go back racing here. Pace car is off. And Nadeau and Robbie Gordon will lead us to green. And we're back racing here at Bristol. The outside line didn't really go as much. But Kurt Busch is going to try to drive away a little bit from Ryan Newman. As you see, Warburton still has the damage on the front of his car. That might impact him a little bit. Kurt Busch able to get around Bobby Labonte and Brett Bodine. As Kurt's going to try to sweep his way around these drivers. You see further back there, there's Gordon in third, McMurray in fourth, and then Dale Jarrett in fifth. Kurt's going to stay up on the outside. Now, all these drivers, they have fresher tires. They have fresh tires. They all came in under the yellow or before the yellow, got fresher tires. There's Kyle Petty actually coming out of the pits. You see Zachary in the 80 trying to make his way through the field, or trying to make his way through the lap cars. He is a lap down because he got pinned a lap down under caution, or as the caution came out, as he was on pit road. So, terribly timed for Zachary, but Ryan Newman actually ends up taking the lead away from Kurt Busch in the 97, and that's gonna benefit Ryan Newman a lot, as now Kurt Busch ended up getting stuck behind Labonte and another lap car of Joe Nemechek. Kurt does get around the outside. He makes actually contact with Joe Nemechek into Jamie McMurray. Kurt was not having it. He was really frustrated with Nemechek there, that he got into the side of him. A lot of these drivers trying to possibly get their lap back. A lot of the drivers that are in front of Newman were 2 laps down, which is why they started in front of him. But a lot of them behind Newman are a lap down, as Jimmy Spencer's trying to get around Terry Labonte, but also Ryan Newman, who is the leader. He's got to pay attention to what he's doing here. He's going to try to go 3 wide with Jimmy Spencer. That almost worked out. That was actually pretty terrifying from Newman's standpoint. But because of that, here comes Kurt Busch and Jeff Gordon. As now Newman is just kind of stuck behind the 2 drivers of Jimmy Spencer and Bobby Labonte. And Kurt Busch is going to go right around the inside, past Newman, get right up next to his rival Jimmy Spencer. Is he going to do anything? Is Spencer going to do anything? They don't. And Kurt Busch is back out front at Bristol. Kurt had his buddy Jimmy going ahead and help him out a little bit and block Newman. He's going to keep him on the inside, so maybe Kurt's going to be able to get right around the outside of Bobby Labonte and grab the lead. Or excuse me, put him a lap down. And he does end up doing that. Is there you see Mark Martin in the 6, who ended up bringing out the first caution. He's fighting Mayfield, Andretti, and Terry Labonte, Bobby's brother. And now Kurt's in the middle of it, and now Newman only has 1 car in between him and Kurt. Kurt goes up to the outside, finds his Roush teammate. Give him a little wave, making sure that he was all right. Mark Martin might be a little shaken up from what happened, but he is out there still racing, so that's all that matters. But Kurt Busch, right now, still has a car in between him and Ryan Newman for the lead. As Kurt's still trying to find his way through the lap traffic, as Jeremy Mayfield is going to be a little bit difficult to pass, but Kurt does get a good run on the outside to put him 2 laps down. And now he's going to try to get to Terry to put him another lap down. Marlin's actually on pit road right now as we speak. There you see the 2 drivers that started on the front row, Zachary and Dale Jr. now have caught the back end of the field. Go through the rest of these other drivers. Kenseth and Tony, they got screwed over quite a bit with them stopping on the track and them towing. As Burton gets back in the wall, he ended up making contact with Steve Park coming out of turn 4, and the Darlington winner is not having a good race as he almost gets into the side of Todd Bodine, almost gets into the side of Jarrett. He's going to slow up his teammate. Man, this is not a good race for Matt Kenseth at all. He's going to continue to get slowed up. Burton finally jumps to the inside. Ken Schrader, Zachary, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Ward Burton have actually caught Kenseth. And Zachary, I think, is actually fighting Ken Schrader. Yeah, he's actually fighting Ken Schrader for position. So is Jr., and they do get around him. because Kansas actually got caught up behind his own teammate that allows Dale Jr. and Zachary to have a battle with him. And Junior's teammates, Steve Park and Michael Waltrip are having a really good race right now. Being able to keep it up inside the top 10 right now. There you see Casey Mears in the 41. Casey Mears is actually on the lead lap, so that's actually insane. And Casey Mears right now runs 4th as we speak. So the running order right now, it is Kurt Busch, Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon, Casey Mears. Those are the top 4. Have to see here soon who the 5th driver is, but as of right now, Kurt Busch, he's still dominating, he's still leading. He won this race in the spring of last year. Trying to get his 2nd win here at Bristol and try to get her done. And the driver that's in 5th is Jimmy Johnson right now in the 48. You see Dave Blaney's actually on pit road as of right now. Zachary kind of fell behind Matt Kenseth a little bit, but not by much. See Kurt Busch trying to catch up to Tony Raines in the 74. He's got a little bit of a gap to him, but he's also got a gap to Ryan Newman because he is stuck behind 2 lappers of Andretti and Terry Labonte. As we're going to head into the final 35 laps of this event. And it's crazy to believe that it's only been 31, almost 32 minutes since this whole race started. Insane. There you see the little bit of 3-wide action between Terry and Jen Andretti, and there's a caution out on the front straightaway. And there's a big pile up as we just saw Terry Labonte get into the back of Kyle Petty, and there's a big crash, and it's Ken Schrader. Ken Schrader, Greg Biffle, Dave Blaney, obviously Kyle Petty and Terry Labonte. But Ken Schrader, who had an amazing comeback at Darlington, is involved in a crash here at Bristol, and Dave Blaney just made a pit stop too. What in the world happened? Let's ride on board with Ken Schrader and see what happens. Oh, he looks like if... And he got into Tony Raines. Seems like he got hooked in the right rear by Greg Biffle. May have gotten a little tight. There you see the 2nd place and 3rd place, Ryan Newman and Jeff Gordon getting through. Harvick and Johnson got through, and I think Casey Mears did too. Could barely see him. And according to what we've been told, Biffle was actually on his outside, so let's see what happens on board with Biffle. Biffle got a run on the outside, and Schrader didn't see it. It was like a last-second decision. Oh, man, you can just hear him getting hit in the back. Okay, there's Casey Mears. He ended up getting through. Man, the rookie Casey, he's having a good showing right now. Really good showing for the rookie. Let's go to the Lightyear blimp and see what happens. There you see Schrader in the 49 and Biffle. He gets an amazing run on the outside. And yeah, Schrader just didn't see it. Dave Blaney got caught up in it. Kurt Busch made it by without a scratch. McMurray and Rudd actually got caught behind it, as did Elliott and Waltrip, because Kyle Petty was actually in front of their racing line. Sadler got on through, so did Wallace. Tony Stewart got through it again. What a topsy-turvy turn of events. As now, because Zachary right now is making a pit stop, but Kurt Busch all the way back, the driver that's last in line, ended up making a pit stop, and now Jimmy Johnson leads at Bristol. Because when they come around this time, there's going to be 30 laps to go. So Jimmy Johnson, who had an amazing rookie season, who's having a pretty good start to his 2003 campaign, currently right now leads at Bristol with Jamie McMurray in 2nd, Kevin Harvick in 3rd, Michael Waltrip 4th, Johnny Benson is back inside the top 5. What an amazing 2 weeks Benson's had. Kurt Busch in 6th, Ryan Newman in 7th, Jeff Gordon is 8th, Bobby Labonte got his lap back. He is 9th. And you have Casey Mears in 10th. And Ricky Rudd in 11th. That is insane. As we're going to go back racing, Johnson gets away well, but J.M. McMurray did not get away well. McMurray actually got caught off guard from that, and that's going to push him back, and that allows Johnson to just get all the way out as we're back racing at Bristol. And now with that, McMurray trying to hold on to second over Kevin Harvick in the 20 or in the 29, trying to see what he can do, trying to maintain the position. Here you see Dale Jr. in the 8, but his teammate Michael Waltrip having yet another amazing run today. But Johnson, he just rocketed off rip. There you see Ken Schrader coming out of the pits. And ladies and gentlemen, for the first time this season, we're going to hit triple digits. Lap 100. Jimmy Johnson leads at the lap 100 mark. As we look back to second place, which is still Jamie McMurray and Kevin Harvick. But here comes Michael Waltrip, who is fourth. Jeff Green, unfortunately, from that first caution, got pitted a lap down. They were just 3 wide ahead of him between Burton and Steve Park. Harvick's going to try to wrap the bottom and get around McMurray in the 42. Can't quite get there. He does have DJ in front of him, so Harvick's got to pay attention to that. But here comes Michael Waltrip. He can't really do a whole lot. He's trying to, Dale Jr. is trying to, in some way, help him. But it just might not be enough for him to do a whole lot. As Harvick is still trying to get around, and he edged out ahead. He does clear him for second, it looks like. There you see 5th place, Kurt Busch. Ryan Newman in 6th. Jeff Gordon back there in 7th. Looks like Kurt and Tony made a little bit of contact. Tony hasn't had the greatest couple races so far. Well, he hasn't had the greatest Bristol race, but it could be worse. It could be a lot more worse. Matt Kenseth, the 17, hasn't had a great race at all today. It was good at the beginning, then it just kind of went away. Here comes Zach. Oh, my God! Benson catches the wall. Zachary's trying to save it. He's still trying to save it entering turn 2. He does. He's a lap down trying to pass a lot of cars. He did exactly that, but in doing so, he put Benson in the wall and almost crashed himself. And Benson slows in front of him. That's going to allow Mark Marr right back around on the outside. Zachary's going to dive into the bottom, make contact with Benson, shove him up the track, and Zachary's going to clear Benson. Benson's not even for position for Zach, but Zach has fresher tires than everybody, so he's going for it. Right in front of Martin. He doesn't even make contact with Mark Martin. What? Wow, that was almost bad. Thank God it wasn't, though. Casey Mears in the 41 probably got the best luck he could have gotten out of all of that. As right now he runs 9th with Johnny Benson running in 10th. His nearest competitor in 11th is Bill Elliott. But guess what? Bill Elliott is a lap down. Johnny Benson isn't. And look at this pack of cars. McMurray catches the wall, which might allow Michael Waltrip into 3rd. Actually, Ricky Rudd is in 3rd right now. Waltrip trying to go for 4th. Rudd actually made a really good making a good comeback. There you see Bill Elliott all the way back there. So Andretti ain't going to have any competition because Bill Elliott is all the way near Jimmy Johnson, but a lap down. There you see him right there. As we head back here, Harvick still in 2nd. Rudd still in 3rd. Waltrip did get 4th off of McMurray, who's down to 5th. And now Ryan Newman in the 12 is trying to get him. But also, so is Jeff Gordon and Kurt Busch in the 24 and 12. Or 24 and 97. There you see Zachary in the 80. He's going to try to make something happen out of all of this. As Dale Jr., who did lead some laps early on, you might get the 5 extra bonus points. There's some contact up at the front between Jr. and Tony Stewart. Zachary did get Kenseth and Brett Bodine. He's going to try to pass his team boss. He knows his boss is on the lead lap, but he ain't going to fight him too much. He's going to go 3 wide almost again. All camera angles out of the 80 cars. We're going to go right on board with Zachary and see what he's going to deal with. Man, look at him go right through the field. Look, oh, man. Right on the binders. Try not to make a whole lot of contact. Ooh. A little bit of contact with McMurray, though. As Johnson just has 10 laps till the end of the race. A little bit of contact between the two. You can kind of hear it a little bit. He's still trying to make his way through the field. He does see Dale Jr. Jeff Green in the 30. His tires might be gone. All camera angles again on that 80 car, but he did. That was really cool to see him go through the field. He dives to the inside of Kurt Busch. Kurt got caught off guard by it, and that's going to allow Zach around him. And Kurt and his team again the wall. Kurt Busch and Gray Biffle made contact, and Biffle got the worst end of it by catching the wall more. Now Zach gets around Steve Park. He's going to try to get Jeff Green and Dale Jr. As Harvick actually got passed for second. Now Ricky Rudd is in second. As farther ahead, Benson now is a lap down with Johnson out front as the leader. But I still don't think Bill Elliott's close enough. I think we went past Bill Elliott, so Benson might have his second straight top 10 finish of the season. As right now we're into the final 6 laps here at Bristol. Jimmy Johnson got really lucky on the previous restart by restarting in first. He got an amazing launch. Caught Jamie McMurray off guard and was able to just drive away with the lead. As now Johnson will enter turn 3 to the inside of his teammate to come to 4 laps to go. As he's right underneath his teammate Terry and right behind Jerry Nadeau in the 01. And since Johnson really doesn't have anybody to worry about, not even Ricky Rudd as of right now, because Rudd's way far back. And Rudd's got about 6-7 cars in between him and Johnson. Johnson can just cruise his way to victory. Jimmy Johnson last year finished higher than Ryan Newman, but he did not win Rookie of the Year. Johnson thought he had Rookie of the Year locked up with his amazing season that he had. Because of Ryan Newman's 1 extra pole over Johnson, that's what sealed the deal. And Johnson said going into his sophomore season, he was going to do more, and right now he's doing it with the white flag out. Jimmy Johnson's last win was Dover in the fall. Today, race number 5 of the season, Jimmy Johnson's going to win big at Bristol. Career win number 4 for the man from Oklahoma, California, Jimmy Johnson. And Hendrick Motorsports gets their first win of the season. You thought it would have happened with Jeff Gordon, but that was Jeff Gordon's driver that did it. But Jimmy Johnson grabs his first win of the 2003 season, and it comes at a place where it's always crazy when we get here, the Bristol Motor Speedway. And Johnson survives all the chaos, and he wins the Food City 500 at Bristol. What a race for the 48 car, and just what a race in general. That was a really good race, not gonna lie. And maybe, who knows? Maybe we'll have that again happen in the fall. But for now, Jimmy Johnson can celebrate it, and Johnson really doesn't have to worry about a whole lot of things going on, because there might be a lot of fights going on down pit road with a lot of decisions that certain drivers made. Because it's always Bristol. It's Bristol, baby. That's what happens at the end of these races. But we'll go on ahead and take a look at the finishing results for today's race. So Jimmy Johnson grabs his first win of the season with Ricky Rudd in second, Kevin Harvick in third, Michael Waltrip finishes in fourth, Jeff Gordon in fifth, Kurt Busch in sixth, Ryan Newman seventh, Bobby Labonte in 8th. Casey Mears with his first top 10 in 9th. And Johnny Benson with his second straight top 10 in 10th. We might need to add +5 to Ryan Newman because he did lead some laps, and I did not calculate that. My bad. But then you got Bill Elliott in 11th. Zachary finishes in 12th, rebounding quite nicely. You have Dale Jarrett 13th, Ricky Kevin 14th, Rusty Wallace 15th, Dale Earnhardt Jr. 16th, Sadler 17th, Bodine 18th, Jeff Green 19th, and Sterling Marlin in 20th. And you have Steve Parker 21st, Jay McMurray 22nd. I guess Jay McMurray was actually a lap down, not actually for position. My bad. And then John Andretti 23rd, Jerry Nadeau in 24th, Mayfield 25th, Joe Nemechek 26th, Robbie Gordon with a 27th, Warburn 28th, Kenny Wallace in 29th, and Larry Foyt finishes in 30th. And you have Ken Schrader with 31st, Dave Blaney in 32nd, Greg Biffle 33rd, Jeff Byrne in 34th, Tony Stewart 35th, Matt Kenseth in 36th, Brett Bodine in his first race of the season 37th, Terry Labonte 38th, Tony Raines at 39th, and Jimmy Spencer finishes in 40th. And the last three finishers were Mark Martin in 41st, Kyle Petty in 42nd, and Jack Sprague in 43rd. However, he ended up DNFing out of this race at around lap 60. So, don't quite know what happened there, but definitely wasn't too good for him, as you can obviously tell if he DNF'd out of this race today. So, I think the point standings coming out of this race are definitely going to be really, really shaken up, and definitely a lot of positions are going to change because of this one race. A lot of drivers had a good first half, but after that first caution came out, it changed everything for everybody. So the possibility of certain drivers maybe going down a few positions might be possible. So now let's go on ahead and check out the point standings coming out of Bristol. So Ryan Newman maintains the championship lead now ahead of Ricky Rudd in second. And Kevin Harvick in third. Matt Kenseth falls down to fourth. Zachary falls down to fifth. Bill Elliott's in sixth. Jeff Gordon's up to seventh. Jimmy Johnson's up to eighth. Kurt Busch is in ninth. And Michael Waltrip cracks the top 10 with his amazing string of races so far from Atlanta to now. Then you have Jeff Green in 11th, Mark Martin in 12th, Elliott Sadler 13th, Burton 14th, Dale Jarrett in 15th, Bobby Labonte in 16th, John Andretti 17th, Jeremy Mayfield 18th, Tony Stewart in 19th, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. makes his way back into 20th. Then you have Johnny Benson 21st, Jamie McMurray 22nd, Todd Bodine 23rd, Rusty Wallace 24th, Kenny Wallace in 25th, Sterling Marlin 26th, Joe Nemechek 27th, Terry Labonte 28th, Ricky Kevin 29th, and Greg Biffle in 30th. You have Steve Parks 31st, Kyle Petty 32nd, Dave Blaney 33rd, Ward Burton now 34th, and Larry Foyt in 35th. Then you got Casey Mears up to 36th, Tony Raines 37th, Jerry Nadeau 38th, Mike Skinner 39th, and Robbie Gordon 40th. And you have Ken Schrader 41st, Spencer 42nd, Jack Sprague 43rd, Atwood in 44th, Mike Wallace in 45th, Scott Pruitt 46th, Christian Fittipaldi 47th, Buckshot in 48th. There's Brett Bodine in 49th as of right now, and Hermie Sadler in 50th. So now 50 drivers have at least attempted a race this season and made the show and completed it from the looks of it. So definitely going to be a lot more drivers as this continues on, as now the drivers from Casey Mears all the way down to Hermie Sadler are go homers. So Larry Foyt is getting lucky. He's getting really, really lucky. And if he doesn't want to be a part of that go homer bracket, or at least be as close as he is right now to it, might need to have a good string of races so Casey Mears doesn't make his way in, or Tony Raines, or Jerry Nadeau. It just really depends on how the next few races kind of go for the young rookie. So we'll just have to wait and see. But we're going to get out of the short track racing for a little bit. And next race is going to be the Samsung Radio Shack 500 at the Texas Motor Speedway. It's the next mile-and-a-half track that we have this season. It's the third one already on the season. And should be a lot of fun. It should be a lot of fun at Texas. Unfortunately, it's the newer Texas. It's not the older one. I know. Couldn't really change it. But we'll see how it all kind of goes. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification button down below for some more. I'll see you all in Texas. Have a great day, everyone. I love y'all, and goodbye.